I don't set New Year's resolutions. And now you might be thinking, but Elizabeth, you're a super goal-oriented person. And that is true, which is why I set New Year's goals and not New Year's resolutions. I'm Elizabeth Kerstetter, and I talk about entrepreneurship, graphic design, and intentional living. In this video, I'm going to talk about what goals I set, how I set goals, and why I set goals and not resolutions. So what is the difference between a goal and a resolution? Well, a resolution is a firm decision to do something, whereas a goal is the object of a person's ambition or the destination of a journey. I achieved all but one of last year's New Year's goals that I made for myself, and I really don't feel bad about not achieving the one that I didn't achieve. And that is because it was a goal and not a resolution. And because it was a goal, which is the object of a person's ambition or the destination of a journey, my journey took a course that I wasn't expecting. And because of the course that my journey took, it didn't really make sense for me to accomplish that goal anymore. And that's why I really don't feel bad about not completing that goal. Another thing about goals is that you aren't a failure for not achieving a goal. Either you can try again for that goal, or maybe the goal just doesn't make sense in your life anymore. And that's totally okay too. If your journey isn't going towards that goal and you've actually swerved and taken a different path, that's a totally normal thing. Goals are not rules. They're guiding principles that we can look at and say, hey, this is something that I really wanted to accomplish. And in those moments when we're trying to make decisions between one or two things, or trying to decide where we want to go in life, should I do this event? Should I not do this event? Does it make sense to make this move in my life? You can look at your goals that you already set and say, okay, does this line up with this goal? Is this something that will put me on the path towards this goal? Or is this something that will put me on a different path? So let's talk about setting goals. How do we do it? Well, a lot of people use the acronym SMART, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. One thing for me is that I don't frivolously set goals. I'm definitely a person who, if I start setting goals, I'll start setting more and more and more, and eventually I have so many goals that it's literally impossible to achieve them all. If I make a goal of every morning I'm going to read for an hour, and every morning I'm not going to use my phone for 2 hours, and every morning I am going to work out, and every morning I am going to clean the kitchen, and every morning, etc. Well, now that's 7 things that I all of a sudden have to try to do. And that's really, really hard to change your routine with that many things at once. So I think it's really important to make sure that we aren't setting too many goals, because then it just becomes really hard to achieve them. I think something that I've done in my life in the past is that I've set too many goals and I haven't achieved them because they weren't achievable. And then I started having this thing where I almost didn't trust myself anymore. Where it's oh yeah, but I let myself down all the time. And I think it's really important to not let yourself down. So you definitely want to make your goals a priority. One of the ways I make my goals a priority and get away from adding too many on is I make goals at the new year. And then those goals are my only goals that I'm allowed to make for myself for that year. I think it's also really important to remember that your goals are a commitment to yourself. And when you're looking at scheduling your day, your week, your month, even your year, to think about what your goals are and how you can make those happen. I think it can be so easy to make promises to other people and make good on those promises, like helping a friend move or going out to dinner with someone. But a lot of times we make promises to ourselves, like reading a book a month. And then we're just kind of oh, well, it's a promise to myself. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to be mad at me if I don't do it. But I think we really need to schedule in time and put them on the calendar. Think about them as a true commitment, because that way you're much more likely to get them done. My 2021 goals, the goals that I had this past year, I completed all except one. And the goals that I had for myself were read a book a month, which I ended up reading 13. Get into better physical shape. My health was able to take a turn for the better, and I was actually able to go back to Taekwondo, so I'm really excited about that. And improving my mental health, which I did by returning to counseling. Making the living room aesthetic. Maybe a frivolous goal, but something that I really struggled with. I was super unhappy with our living room before, and I'm super glad that I've been able to make it a really relaxing place of peace that I feel at home in. Expanding my drawing skills. I definitely did this. I drew throughout the year. I actually started some painting. Graduating college. I graduated. Yay! I have that diploma now. Getting a full-time design job, which I was able to do. And making 10K revenue for my Etsy shop. This was the one that I did not complete. And I am totally okay with that because last year when I was making my goals, I was thinking that Etsy was going to be a main source of income for me. I was thinking it was going to be something that I was going to pursue as a full-time job, but I ended up not doing that and really pivoting and doing graphic design full-time. So I'm really happy with the fact that I didn't meet this goal, and I really am not stressing about it at all because my journey took a turn away from that. Now you're probably wondering what my 2022 goals are. Well, I'm not going to tell you because my goals are a secret. I think it's really important to not tell people what my next move is, and also really important for me to not tell people because I feel like once people know, I'm not as likely to complete the goal. And I don't know exactly why that is, but it is something that I've noticed in my life. So now I just really don't tell people what my goals are until after I've completed them. So that's all for today. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for my next video.